Welcome back to Next Gen Investing. It's now time to discuss, hopefully, what is the brightest spot to end on here, as Rocket Companies is still hanging on to an 11% move to the upside. Joining us now is George Tsilis, Senior Markets Correspondent for the network. So, George, we got obviously higher second quarter sales. There were some areas of weakness, but clearly a earnings report that resonated with the street pretty well.
Yeah, I think there's when we talk about rocket companies, I think at least a couple times, but this is a traditional mortgage originator and lender. They've actually expanded quite aggressively through acquisitions. They bought a competitor called Mr. Cooper, and they also purchased, I think this is the last time we talked about, this company RedFin, which again helps vertically integrate now mortgage services as well as lending, real estate services, brokerage services, and now effectively, they're moving into places like auto loans and even areas like solar installation financing for residential areas of the economy. I mean, this is an interesting company right now because if you look at the context of what's happening in the housing market, existing home sales, new home sales, home builders, all these areas of the housing ecosystem have been down. And rocket companies, if you look at the last at least year to date, the stock is higher quite a bit. And it's really a manifestation of a business strategy that seems to be working out altogether. And so they did report earnings. So there's a catalyst that really caused the move that we're seeing, at least today. They reported an adjusted EPS, which was 4 cents per share, besting the 3-cent estimate. But keep in mind that the estimate was actually lower still than last year at 6 cents. So it was down by 33%. But nonetheless, they did increase top line sales by over 10%, beating the estimates, coming in at 1.36 versus 1.28 billion dollars. I think the other thing to keep in mind is they actually raised their guidance for the full fiscal year. They did denote that volume actually was higher year over year by 13%, while at the same time, the acquisition synergies and strategies seem to be manifesting with the revised guidance higher. I'm looking at this company right now with earnings estimates that continue to rise going forward. So I guess my point is that irrespective of the market or irrespective, if you will, of the housing economy, which is relatively slow right now, we are seeing pockets of strength amongst individual companies just because the margin expansion through cost synergies and strategic synergies from acquisitions. And that includes competitor Mr. Cooper, which Rocket bought, but also Redfin, which actually increases the vertical integration and cost efficiencies of the combined businesses.
George, fair or unfair with 33% of the float shorted to call this meme stock or at least meme adjacent?
Honestly, Alex, I think that share float percent, I did look at that, is quite high. The thing about it is I'm just going to give you context here. I'm not saying what to do, but that's a lot of short interest right now for a company, which is expected. And this is the thing. If you look at the EPS estimates for this year, 27 cents. Think about the quarter they reported 4 cents. So that's a meaningful increase. Next year, 2026, they are estimating 2 times this year's EPS at over 76 cents. So for what it's worth, this company seems to be growing at a reasonable price through acquisitions, enhancing margins, and the earnings estimates continue to rise going forward. So I think this is one worth watching to see if it does squeeze because, again, the financial fundamentals appear to be improving for the underlying business, irrespective of the market for lending and the housing market. You have to go with the trends and where profit growth is. And that seems to be the case for Rocket. So I can't say if it'll be a short squeeze, but it's tough to be short right now, especially when you have earnings that are growing.
Yeah, that is encouraging. And today's move has also been hugely encouraging. We've erased some of that strength, of course, on the session, but hanging on to almost an 11% gain. I appreciate it, George, for the insight today as well as all week long.